And so it's that time of year again. Time to look at the numbers and see the Spirit. Look at the ways that we share and build faith by spending money and inviting others to invest in the ministry of Jubilee United Church. This is a brief review of the budget for 2026. Now, you can look to the spreadsheets for even more detail, but this video should give you an idea of what goes on in this amazing ministry of ours. So, a little more than a year ago, Jubilee United Church began a journey. With the amalgamation with Forest Grove United Church, we agreed to continue what we began when we amalgamated with St. John's United Church in 2017, which of course built on the vision that we created in the year 2000 when Victoria Village, Donminster, and Bethesda United Churches decided to be inspired by Jesus' ministry to risk and love our neighbors without holding back. Now, with the sale of the Forest Grove property, we went into an agreement with the United Church of Canada, represented by the Shining Waters region, to live beyond our means for the next 10 years. We shared a vision with the church of an inclusive ministry that would embrace people in love, be relevant to the broader community regardless of faith, and see what could be done if we were given the freedom to dream. So, we agreed on a vision that has 2 full-time ministers, a music director, choir section leads, professional administration, a facilities manager, a projects manager, a music school with teachers, and a leader. The capacity and warrant to be active in the digital world, connecting with thousands of people and sharing a gospel of hope and inclusion. With all of our assets on the line, we began with, about $8 million and the support of the United Church of Canada to see what we can do when we're not afraid of running out of money in the near future. So we have the funding to carry on like this for about 10 years. However, we are learning. We are finding ways to save money and responsibly plan a future that goes well beyond 2035. But not at the expense of learning what is not only for our benefit, but also for other churches as well. The United Church of Canada is watching to see what works with us. Other churches are watching. We get benefit from 2 full-time ministers, great benefit. The question is it worth it? Can it be sustainable with time? We are learning. We have a music school open to everyone and able to cover the costs of those who cannot afford music lessons. Is it worth it? Can it actually be sustainable? We have a digital reach that goes all around the world and creates interactions and shares love. Does it matter? Is it worth the investment? Well, we're learning. So today we're going to look at a budget for year 2 of a 10-year dream, a 10-year vision. We have been very conservative in our income expectations, and we have been very generous in our potential for expenses. Some of these numbers are going to surprise you, and they might make you think that we're being irresponsible. They might make you think that we have so much money that we don't need any money to keep going, and both assumptions would be mistaken. We are living beyond our means faithfully so that we might learn for ourselves and for other churches what really brings value and reflects true ministry. Without wisdom, we will spend through all of our money in 10 years, no problem. But with wisdom, we've already figured out how not to do that. However, our invested assets will diminish, and sustainability isn't just about having enough money, it's also about having buy-in, participation, and investment from the community. So, are we a worthwhile investment? Well, let's have a look at some numbers and see what they mean in real time. Let's see where each of us might fit in with this ministry, and let's see if we can see where God is leading us to today. So let's start with the revenue, shall we? It's always nice to think about money coming in. And we're projecting about $448,965 in revenue for 2026. Now, $100,000 of that will come from envelopes, we hope. PAR should provide $138,000. Special appeals, we're only aiming for $10,000. And loose coins change, well, probably about $1,800. That's what we're thinking. The Grove Music School should bring in about $47,300. And other offering, well, we're thinking about $1,300. Now, on top of that, we intend to do a little bit of fundraising, but we're basing it on 3 linchpins. The first is our garage sale, the first Saturday in May. We can't do without that. And then the Jubilee 5K, we're going to move it into June. And then the new one, the surprise, is we're adding a garage sale to the first Saturday in October. Those are the 3 that we'll base our fundraising on. But we intend to have little things along the way. You might have something you want to do, and we're going to embrace that. But those are the 3 big ones. Another source of income for Jubilee is facility rentals, and we're planning on $94,965 from our friends with the Amadeus Choir, with Alcoholics Anonymous, with Reach Yoga, and also our friends from By the Well. Let's just pause for a moment and remember that our ministry is about people, not just about money. And we have some amazing people. But now, back to the money thing. All in all, we're talking about a total revenue of $448,965. And this does not include, however, mission and service fund givings. It doesn't include the Burning Bush Eco Ministry. And it doesn't include refugee sponsorship funds. All of those things are accounted for separately from our annual budget. They exist on their own. We also haven't included any of the interest that comes from our investments, because we're going to talk about that a little bit later. So now let's talk about expenditures, where we're spending our money in this ministry that we share. We begin with the big one, salaries and benefits, $763,372. And that is a big number. And then when you remember that it's 2 full-time ministers, 1 full-time music school director, 2 full-time project and building managers, and part-time music director, administrator, and digital producer, well, it doesn't seem quite as big. And then you recognize it's part of the vision, and it's only a 2.4% increase over last year. Now let's look at utilities, other hard costs we can't do much about. We've budgeted $24,490. That's $1,840 for water, $9,200 for gas, and $13,450 for hydro. Insurance is $10,400 this year, which is $2,574 more than we paid last year. But you've probably noticed insurance has gone up everywhere. Maintenance and repair, we've put at $77,336. And we break it down this way. $34,922 is for cleaning. $12,414 is for grass and snow removal. And $30,000 is to fix stuff. And with that money budgeted, we should be able to keep things running smoothly and even fix things if they break. So now let's talk administration, the way we keep things going from day to day. We have budgeted $38,600. And that means $9,880 for paper and general supplies, software, $9,600 for our copier. We've budgeted $3,600 for PAR and online donations. It does cost us money. Phone and internet, $4,520. And our audit review will cost $11,000 in 2026. We also have a United Church of Canada assessment of $42,586. That's the money we pay to the Shining Waters region that allows the region and the United Church of Canada to support not only Jubilee, but all the churches and all the programs across the country. And it represents 4.5% of our net revenue and 1/4% of the value of our investments over $100,000. Now let's look at the money we are investing in our programs. This year we've budgeted $1,702,570 in our program costs. That includes fundraising. We do need about $3,000 to make fundraising work. That includes hospitality and social events. That's $6,100. Worship, $38,700. Music and communication, $1,500. Christian development, $20,350. Taxis, $7,500. Community table, $4,500. And scholarships, $1,000. Of course, we're also looking at pastoral care and Jubilee cares at $4,200, and then Broadview and outreach, $1,800. The Grove Music School, $83,920. That gives us a total of $1,129,354 spent on the programs that shape Jubilee's ministry. And that will give us an operating shortfall of $680,389. That does seem like a lot, but that's not the whole story. When you look at that, you realize that's only $16,435 more than we spent last year. And when you think about all the things that we do at Jubilee and the way inflation has hit us in the last year, that's actually quite impressive. And there's another thing to look at too. So let's look at our investments. Jubilee is very fortunate to have a large and well-managed investment portfolio. So we began our journey with about $8 million. And depending on what capital projects are realized and how markets may fare in 2026, we should reasonably have between $6.7 million and $7.9 million invested at the end of the year. In 2026, income from our investments is projected to be $370,000. So we have a $680,389 operating shortfall. However, part of our vision is to spend some of that money, and so there's $411,936 that will be spent directly on those things that we included in our vision, the vision that the United Church of Canada agreed to, the vision that we agreed to. So that leaves us with an actual net operating deficit of $268,453, which means that $370,000 that we make in interest should actually cover our operating deficit. So there you go. We could make it look like we're actually in the black. But the truth is, we'll have taken $411,936 out of our investments for 2027. So it looks like this. We begin 2026 with about $7.9 million in our investment fund. We should add about $370,000 to that fund, so we could end up with $8.2 million, or as little as $7.1 million if we replace the HVAC system and go ahead and take on some of the capital costs that were part of our 10-year vision. Wisdom and the fitness of our HVAC system will determine what we do in 2026. No matter what we do, however, with this ambitious budget, we will be taking about $400,000 out of our investment fund, as per our agreement with the United Church of Canada and our congregation when we voted on our amalgamation vision. So, our portfolio will go down even as we act responsibly and faithfully. It is up to us to continue the work towards sustainability. It is up to us to invest in what matters in our ministry. Is it worship? Is it the music school? Is it community building? Is it spiritual education? Is it love for our neighbors, faith formation, and equipping people to live hopefully, lovingly in the world? That's what we are trying to discover together. What is it that God is calling us to do? I can promise you this: it's not to be comfortable or to hide away with this financial asset, but neither is it to spend without care and discernment. So it looks like together we're doing a pretty good job. The question is, what more can we do? What can each of us do to work towards sustainability? Well, first and foremost, we can increase our givings when and where we can. We can provide a legacy gift that continues this ministry for future generations. We can sponsor events and programs at Jubilee. Programs like Community Table or the Grove Music School, Common Ground Worship, Ukulele Camp, spiritual retreats, the Jubilee 5K. Did you know that our dear friend Charlie Scott left a legacy to Jubilee in his will last year that will help cover our hospitality costs for 2026? Hospitality was important to Charlie, and his gift will take costs out of our budget and help us work towards sustainability. Judy Olson invited people to donate to Jubilee in honor of her life in her obituary and at her funeral. There is no gift too small to have an impact on the life of Jubilee, and we appreciate the legacy gifts that help us to build a viable and faithful future. Together, we can invest in the present and help shape the future of Jubilee. We can do this together, faithfully. We can find sustainability, and we can make sure that Jubilee is a place that will be welcoming our neighbors for generations to come. So this is our proposed budget for 2026. We think that it's compassionate, thoughtful, and just risky enough to be faithful. We also think that it reflects the love and the faith of this community, Jubilee United Church, a community that is welcoming, daring, and worthy of your investment. Bless you. Thank you for your prayers and your faithful support.